With Jingliu's banner coming very soon, that means we have to have episode 2 of the things that you consider before summoning on Jingliu. Because before you start summoning with all of your college savings, with all of your house payment, all that type of stuff, let's talk about the things that are around Jingliu's banner, just as a heads up in case you forget that there are certain banners coming, or that there might be a new banner coming with the reruns that of course I called, because in the first episode I knew they were going to bring out reruns with Seele, just because having PlayStation come out, needing a character for the first part of the story, it just makes a lot of sense. It really locks up together. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Jingliu, how her situation is, how she compares to a lot of the other banners that are going to be around her. We're going to talk about all that type of stuff in this video. So before we get into the video, make sure to leave a sub and a like, and if you do, you might end up pulling her on a single, but this is a one-time thing. If you don't do it right now, it's over. You're not going to get it. So let's go ahead and start talking about Jingliu's banner and the situation she is in around all these other banners that are coming out and possibly coming out. So with Jingliu, I've already made a video talking about how great she's going to be. I do think, in all honesty, that she's going to be an absolutely amazing character, not only for right now in the current meta, but farther in the future, just because her being able to affect the team, even though it's in a negative way, can spawn in some certain teams when it comes to using her and synergizing with other characters. Of course, we've already talked about like crazy about Blade and their synergy, how you're going to be able to enable Blade's follow-up attacks like crazy just because she is going to be sucking out the HP from him. So that's a really cool thing. But for a lot of people that say we don't have Blade, of course we don't have all these 5 stars, what do you expect us to do with this? It doesn't mean that you won't pull him either later in the future, and if you don't even like Blade, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be characters that will be able to benefit from taking hits or from taking HP away from them. There's going to be a lot of new units in the future, a lot of units that are going to want to do the same thing as Blade, or even possibly even better than Blade. So that's always a possibility to think of when looking at Jingliu, how far she's going to go. And not only that, again, as I say as always, she doesn't use as many skill points as a lot of other DPS characters, because of course you have characters like Tune who use a flat out 3. You have Seele, who can have the potential to use 3 as well. There's just a lot of different characters that are very skill point hungry. Yuan needs to skill every turn basically to get his stacks up. There's a lot of different situations where a DPS would end up using all your skill points because that is their main goal. But for Jingliu, not only can she function as a main DPS, but also as a sub DPS, because at a moment of time you are going to be able to not use any skill points. It's going to let your skill point positive characters be able to build a fat ton of them up so that she's able to either use them herself or maybe even another DPS. There's just a lot of things that go into Jingliu of how she's going to be an amazing main DPS and also just an amazing sub DPS as well in the far future. So her, I do think she's going to be an absolutely good pull for anyone's account, just because I think she's going to be very strong when it comes from the current meta up into the future. Future me talking, I completely forgot to talk about the 4 stars in these banners because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to all the 5 stars that are upcoming and also Jingliu herself. But with Jingliu's banner, we are going to be seeing Tingyun, Qingchui, and also Sampo. Of course, we already know that Sampo is probably one of the lower ones when it comes to the pullability of what you actually want in this banner, with Qingchui and Tingyun being the ones above him. Now, Qingchui is a really nice DPS unit for those that are missing out on that quantum unit for DPS. She is actually super freaking strong in all honesty if you can get her to that E4, E6 threshold, because she's just going to be doing so much damage, it's not even funny. She has a lot of AoE, she has a really good all-hitting ult. There's just so many good things with her. That's the real nice thing. But the main prize is definitely going to be the Tingyun, who likes to avoid so many different banners. I think she's an overall amazing pull for sure, and is a universal support unit for basically every single character that comes out. So there's nothing wrong with these 4 stars for sure. All of them are nice in their own way, but of course with Tingyun is generally going to be one of the best options. Now, talking about future banners, because this is going to be a big bulk of the video, we now have to talk about the other half of this patch, which is going to be Topaz and Numbi and Seele. So Topaz and Numbi, again, another character that looks pretty nice in all honesty on paper, with her being able to follow up attack, do main hyper carry damage as well, with her being able to use the proof of death state to boost her own attacks and also her allies attacks if they follow up as well. There's a lot of really cool things that come from this, and with her of course being able to buff follow up attacks, with her being able to do damage without it being linked to Topaz, we think there's going to be some really nice avenues for her to be a sub DPS as well, and also a main DPS. So just like Jingliu, she's going to have the same properties and also opportunities as Jingliu would have in the future. So for right now, these both look absolutely amazing. In all honesty, it really comes down to which one do you prefer more. I do think Jingliu is the more safe bet as far as I know, just because Topaz and follow-up attacks and all that type of stuff, especially when you're linked to another character or you have a separate entity doing the damage for you, a lot of wonky stuff can come from that. So we have to wait and test her out ourselves. But talking about Topaz, her longevity, how nice she looks to be on paper, we also have to talk about Seele, our good old reliable when it comes to the first 5-star DPS to ever come out in this game. Now, one thing I can say for sure, no matter what, Seele does not age worth nothing. She literally cannot age just because of not only her cracked out relic set being able to allow you to ignore defense automatically just for having quantum weakness on them, she's also able to be a permanent member of the mono quantum team, which is overall just a busted team overall. You just need a new harmony quantum character to come out in the future, and bam, that team is unstoppable. You put it on any side that you want and is GG for whatever side that's going to be. Seele, Topaz, and also Jingliu are going to be a crazy assortment of DPS that you could possibly pull for. I do think all of them have their own rights and ways when it comes to who's going to be summonable, who's going to be worth. Jingliu looks absolutely amazing, and I think the most consistent when it comes to the two that are brand new, which are Topaz and Numbi and Jingliu. But versus Seele, I think they both have their own properties as well. That is just something to make note of, because Seele is a really good unit. You can see a lot of information and the limits broken with Seele. She can still zero cycle up until now, and I think she will keep that title just because having characters like Silver Wolf, Fu Xuan, and possibly other harmony characters that are going to be quantum, the sky's the limit for Seele, just like it is for Jingliu and Topaz. So we have a crazy assortment of characters coming out, and I know it can be very, very hard to choose between them. I just wanted to list out the couple of factors and qualities that make these characters really nice. And future me again, talking about Topaz's 4 stars, we are going to be seeing the 4 stars being Guanifan, Luca, and also Su Shang. I think all 3 of these characters are actually really amazing. Now the thing is, I don't know how Guanifan, because we do know that she is going to give damage increase when it comes to a debuff that the enemies are going to take from her skill or her ultimate, if I'm not wrong. But Luca is also very strong, and also Su Shang. So for those that are missing a physical DPS, Su Shang is going to be a really nice pick. She gets really strong at higher eidolons. Luca, he's an absolutely crazy break effect unit for characters like Kafka, so there's that. And then Guanifan, the brand new unit, you'll get Topaz and Guanifan at the same time. Again, we don't know 100% sure how good her damage buff is going to be for your allies versus Ting Yun's overall attack buff and energy gain and all that type of stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out, especially when it comes to having Jingliu's and also Topaz's 4 stars. So we'll end up seeing what we're going to get. But back to the video. Now, past these characters, past 1.4, we also need to talk about Argenti and also Huo Huo, or however you say your name. But these 2 characters are going to be Erudition and also Abundance character, and that is a very important thing, because with Argenti, he's going to be that character that's AoE physical. And even though I think Woba's getting tired of me saying this because I've been talking to him for a bit, break effect Argenti can be a thing, and since bleed is one of the strongest things in the world, you can possibly use that with Kafka. But as Erudition is, I really do hope Argenti is his own style of character, because as we've seen so far, and yes, I've seen people make genuine work, I've seen people make a lot of Erudition characters work, it's just overall just a really wonky role at the current moment with no shining stars. I really do want Argenti to finally be that shining star, to do massive AoE damage, to do massive physical damage. It'd be some really cool things that you could get out of that character. Now, besides all of these DPSs coming out in a row, which is kind of crazy, we haven't seen a lot of sustained characters or harmony characters at all since the release of the game. They've just been piling up DPS on DPS. But for the next character is going to be Huo Huo, or Huo Huo. Again, I don't know how to say your name. That's a sustained character. If you didn't get Luocha, if you didn't get Fu Xuan, if you don't have a Bailu or a Japar, Huo Huo looks like an amazing choice as well, because she is going to be an abundance character. And we all know with all the recent units that have been coming out, that have been stepping over paths non-stop, we never know. Maybe Huo Huo can be a harmony character as well, maybe an erudition character, an agility character on top of being an already abundance character. There's just so many things to look at. And of course, with the next patch, we might even get, even though I'm not gonna say I hope no one summons on it, but it takes a lot of investment to get this character going, which is Jingliu most likely will rerun with these characters. And then I don't want to say that these characters are going to go in a complete perfect timeline of when they release, but we also have Luocha coming up after Jingliu and also Silverwolf. So there is a fat ton of characters coming out very, very soon. I don't want to say 100% that these characters that I just listed, which are Luocha and Silverwolf, who are absolutely top tier crazy mode meta characters that are going to come out exactly on time. I do think they are going to choose some banners to skip or try to misplace them in schedule, just because if you think about it, if they did bring out Jing Yuan when it comes to having Argenti and also Huo Huo, then that means the next banners are going to be Luocha and Silverwolf, and then everyone's going to skip them. So they really don't want that. I'm pretty sure they want them to shine on their own without having to worry about these crazy characters coming out in the future. So I do think they either might hold off on it or try to mix and match them somewhere else, bring in some other character in their place, but we'll have to see when it comes to that. There is a lot of banners coming out and a lot of really cool characters coming out, and let me know who you think you're going to be summoning on when it comes to either Jingliu or all these other characters that we have in line. It's just so crazy that Hoyoverse decides to just show us all these characters out in a row, with us already knowing 1.4 as a whole, us having the tease of the 1.5 characters, and then when the 1.5 characters are about to come out, we're gonna have 1.6 characters, and I'll be having this video again for, of course, Topaz and also for Argenti and Huo Huo. There's just a lot of different characters we're gonna use this series for, so this is just a heads up, this so that you can stay on your radar, all that type of stuff. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. See you on the next one, and peace.